Hi guys, welcome to Techie Bros, and this is your host Priyo. So guys, I'm starting a new category of videos which I'm going to name Which and Why for smartphones. As the name suggests, whenever we go to buy some electronics, it's made up of components and we see the specifications of the components. But for a layman, numbers can be misleading. That is where my Which and Why for smartphone series comes into your rescue. Here I will tell you about various component choices available in the market and which one you should choose among them and why. So guys, today the component we are going to discuss about is RAM. So guys, let's start without wasting any more time. So let me show you. As you can see, so generally we call a RAM as SD RAM. Why SD RAM? Here S stands for synchronous and D stands for dynamic and RAM stands for random access memory. So here is SD RAM. Now guys, whenever if you are going to buy a laptop or you are going to assemble a PC or you are going to buy a smartphone, there is always a RAM chip, a SD RAM chip on your motherboard, and whenever you see its specifications, you get a word that is called DDR. So what's this DDR and why this DDR term is important for our discussion? So guys, this DDR stands for double data rate. Double data rate. Now guys, there are many families, many generations of RAM technology. Like it was the first generation was DDR, then came the DDR2, then came the DDR3, and then came the DDR4, and at present the current generation is DDR5, and further research is going on. Now as guys, we will be mostly talking about smartphone and their choices. So we are not considering DDR1 and DDR5. So guys, because nowadays you won't get DDR1 RAM chips in your phones, because that's a generation away, a generation behind. So we'll only talk about DDR2, DDR3, DDR4, and guys, DDR5 RAM is at presently not present in any smartphone according to as far as my knowledge goes. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. So guys, so there are three generations: DDR2, DDR3, DDR4. Now some of the smartphones, majority of the smartphones present in the market have DDR3 RAM. A few low budgeted smartphones have DDR2 RAM, and some of the new smartphones or the flagship ones are having the DDR4 RAM. So guys, when you are going to buy a smartphone, you see that there it is written DDR3 RAM or DDR4 RAM. So which one should you consider while buying a smartphone? Now the thing is that if you consider this DDR2, DDR3 and DDR4, now this DDR2 uses the highest amount of needs the highest amount of power, and somewhat around 1.8 volt. The DDR3 technology did some advancements and it needs lesser amount of power, like say 1.5 volt, and the DDR4 needs much lesser power, like around 0.5 volt. So the lesser amount of power your RAM will consume, the more you will get your battery backup, the more time you can use your phone with only a single charge. The next thing that we need to know is the clock speed. And why we need to know the clock speed of the RAM, that I'm going to tell you, but before that let me write the clock speeds. For DDR2, that's around 100 to 300 megahertz, and for DDR3 it's in a range of 1.3 to 1.6 gigahertz, and for DDR4 it's around 1.6 to 2.1 gigahertz. Now why this clock speed is important? Now this clock speed is important because the RAM has to work in synchronization with your processor. For example, let's say if you are using very recent processor from Snapdragon, or you are using another recent processor from Samsung's Exynos or Apple's one, or you are using a MediaTek one, or you are using the HiSilicon Kirin from Huawei, any of the models, the recent ones like Kirin 950, or you can go the Snapdragon 800 and 900 series, all this. So they have a very high clock speed and they can process data at a very high speed. Now the RAM has to supply the data, the RAM has to load the data, and then it has to supply the data to the processor. Now if the RAM is slow, if the clock speed of the RAM is slow, it can process less amount of data with a very low speed, so it can't meet the demands of the processor. So your phone will lag, your device will lag, and you won't get an optimal performance. But to get an optimum performance without any lag and shutter free experience, so you have to choose a RAM whose clock speed is higher. So if the clock speed is higher, it will process the data faster, and it will send the data at a much faster rate to the processor, and your flagship processor will process the data at a quicker rate, and you will not face any lags. So that's why the best choice option is the DDR4 RAM. After that, the second choice is the DDR3, and if you don't have any option, and if you are on a very low budget, then at last you can go for this DDR2 one. Now another thing is that the transfer rate. Generally the transfer rate of this DDR2 is somewhere around 400 to 1000 MTS, means MTS stands for million transfers per second, and for the DDR3 RAM it's somewhere around 8100 to 2133 MTS, and for the DDR4 it's around 2133 to 4266 MTS. So as you can see, the DDR3 RAM can transfer files at a very faster rate, at a much better rate than DDR2, and the DDR4 RAM can do much faster than the DDR3 one. So if you are going to buy a smartphone, always opt for the DDR4 one. If there are some models of smartphones in your budget which have DDR4 RAM, then you should choose those. Otherwise you can go for the DDR3 ones. Now another thing is that in most of the smartphone boxes, when you will see the specifications, you will see something is written LPDDR, and for the third generation is LPDDR3, and the fourth generation is LPDDR4. Now what is this LPDDR? As I have said you DDR, now what is this LPDDR? Now if you will see, this LPDDR means it's low power double data rate third generation, low power double data rate fourth generation. Now why low power? Because this low power, means if we see, like, means when we consider about our laptop or our personal computer, it can provide a much higher voltage than a smartphone can provide to its chips. Thus we need low power chips to work in a smartphone. That's why this discovery has been done, means this thing has been developed, this low power DDR RAM. Now the facilities is that this low power DDR RAM can work from around 1.8 volts, okay, and it has temperature compensate refresh, means at low temperature this RAM needs to be refreshed very much less, means lesser times. Then it has partial array self refresh and deep power down, and generally it works in 333 megahertz range. So guys, this is the thing about LPDDR3 and LPDDR4. This LPDDR3 and LPDDR4 RAMs that are present in your smartphone are nothing the same thing as this one, but just they are low power consuming. Now the thing is that means why does our smartphone hang, or why does it lag? Now the thing is that, let me give you a small concept. Let's take, this is our RAM memory. This is our RAM memory and it has cells. This is means I am giving an example. This is actually the not RAM memory. RAM memory is a very vast, very large thing, but means to give you a concept I am giving you this one. So means whatever, means why do we need more RAM? Means is 2 GB RAM enough? Sometimes a question comes in our mind that is 2 GB RAM enough, or should we go for the 3 GB RAM, or should we go for 4 GB RAM? Now the thing is that it depends on some of the things. Now if you are using a phone, if you are using a smartphone which has a custom ROM, then means your custom ROM will occupy a much large, means when your smartphone will boot up, your operating system will, your custom operating system will take a much larger space in the RAM memory, and after that whenever you will load any application, that application is first loaded in the RAM memory, and after that it works. But let's say if you are using a 2 GB, if you are having a 2 GB RAM in your smartphone and you are having a custom ROM in that your smartphone, and that ROM is occupying almost about 1 to 1.2 to 1.5 GB of RAM, or let's say if I consider the general one like 1 GB of RAM, 1 GB of RAM is left. So in that 1 GB of RAM you are loading heavy games, you are loading heavy apps. So when means you are trying to load let's say you have almost 200 MBs of space left in your RAM, but you are loading a very high game such as the Asphalt 8 or the Modern Combat 5 or things like that, or any heavy applications, so which needs a much larger amount of memory, so that the RAM can't load that game or that application fully on it, and thus it cannot supply the data properly in the proper rate to the processor. That's why your phone hangs or lags. That's why means 4 GB RAM is much better than 3 GB one, and 3 GB is better than 2 GB one. But if you don't have much option, you can go for 2 GB or 3 GB because if you have a stock ROM, then 2 GB RAM is enough. But if your ROM is customized or your operating system is customized and heavy, then you should go for the 3 GB RAM to get glitch free or stutter free experience, smooth experience in your day-to-day usage. So guys, I hope you have understood what I'm trying to say to you. And so to sum it up, now to provide a small summary to this one, DDR4 RAM for smartphones, DDR4 RAM is the best option to choose, and after that comes the DDR3 and DDR2. And here I have told you everything. Why the DDR4 is better than DDR3 and the DDR3 is better than DDR2. So hope the video was very helpful to you. If you guys like the video, please press the like button and please show us your support by subscribing to our channel, and stay tuned for more videos like this. Thank you.